Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Chef D, and this is going to be the breakdown for the NFC East, getting you guys ready for your fantasy football drafts coming up late August. Some going on right now. It depends on what type of league you guys are in, but usually end of August, early first week of September, right before the kickoff of the season, so you get a real good idea of who's in, who's out with all the the preseason games. You don't want to draft somebody that got injured in the preseason. It really gets ugly. So you need to solidify all the positions and make your final decisions. And that's when the majority of the fantasy football leagues are going to be drafted around that time. But we're going to go over the NFC East in our first edition. Next, we'll go to the NFC North, but we're going to stick here. Start off with the Dallas Cowboys, and they had a very up and down season last year. Obviously, started out hot, red hot. Well, preferably the offense started out red hot. In the first 4 week, Dak Prescott, put the whole entire league ablaze. Man was red hot fire. If we just look at the game log of what he did in those first 4 weeks, he torched them. First week, obviously, they were 2-3. Record was up and down because of the defense, but the offense was clicking on all cylinders. He had 266 yards, 1 TD, provided some rushing in that first game. Then this little cluster right here of 3 in a row games, of 450 total yards, 1 TD, put in 3 rushing TDs in that game. Then against Seattle, 472 yards, 3 TDs, 2 interceptions, put in 26 yards there. Then came back against Cleveland, 502 yards, 4 TDs, brought in some rushing ability there. Then against the Giants, that's the game he got injured. And they wound up winning, but it was very, very unfortunate because what Prescott was doing was putting together a masterful season. Could have been an MVP season if he stayed on his pace. Would have been competing with Patrick Mahomes and his stats. But those first 4 weeks, what we're going to look at is going to be the targets. All right. What were the indicators of where you see this Dallas Cowboys team going for this current season? And obviously, CeeDee Lamb is being a very highly touted wide receiver across all the fantasy boards right now, going above Amari Cooper at that wide receiver 15. That's what CeeDee is currently at. Cooper is at that wide receiver 16. But it's funny, if you're looking at those first 4 weeks, we're going to check NFL Savant. This is where you should get some nice information. I go to the targets section. You put in your team, and then you can look at all passing targets, all red zone targets, and all red zone rushing attempts. But from week 1 to week 4, let's start out with week 1. Amari Cooper had 15 targets, 10 completions. Okay. CeeDee Lamb had 5 or 6. Then it breakdowns from 4 or 6 to Michael Gallup. Zeke Elliott actually had a lot of targets as well. He had 5. Then you go to week 2. Just see the progression here. You see consistency out of CeeDee Lamb. So this happened to be a good Dalton Schultz week, 9 of 10. Mark Cooper, 6 of 9. CeeDee Lamb, 6 of 9. And Ezekiel is 6 of 7. And then Michael Gallup always gets that, a couple of targets here and there. Week 3 was the next game. It was a lot of targets for Zeke. He had 12. Mark Cooper had 11. Michael Gallup had 9. CeeDee Lamb was 7. Okay? And then week 4 was another high Amari Cooper week with 15 targets, 12 completions. Zeke Elliott was 8 for 8 with a lot of dump-offs. Schultz was up there above CeeDee Lamb, 4 for 8, and CeeDee Lamb had 5 for 7. All right, so if you're just looking at that, and if you get a total breakdown, Amari Cooper had 51 targets in those first 4 weeks. CeeDee Lamb was actually third with 29. Ezekiel Elliott had 30 targets, and he was second on the team in targets. And then Michael Gallup was fourth with 24 targets. So you're just looking at that, and you're kind of questioning, why is CeeDee Lamb going above Amari Cooper? Obviously, the talent level of CeeDee Lamb is way above, and you're remembering him playing with all the other quarterbacks, how he was going off and torching everyone through the middle of the field. But with Dak Prescott, Amari Cooper is still the number one. So I'm trying to really understand why people are going for CD instead of Amari Cooper. Maybe because of the injury, but I'm all in on Amari Cooper. I love him where he's going right now at that wide receiver 16 position. And some breakout players for this Dallas Cowboys team, obviously, because the defense probably is going to struggle at the beginning of the season, just adapting to Dan Quinn's defense. But they do have some pieces here. DeMarcus Lawrence, they drafted Micah Parsons. They have the linebackers to stop defenses, but it's going to be that back end. Can Kazi step in and stay healthy because he's usually a good safety? Can Trevon Diggs step up and Anthony Brown? What will they do? So there's a lot of question marks on the defensive side, but I still see Dallas Cowboys in very high octane games, and that the way they're structured on the offensive side, they have a ton of talent, and I expect a big bounce back year from Ezekiel Elliott as well. He's getting a full healthy line coming back. Tyron Smith is back. Zach Martin is back. La'el Collins is back. So this is positives for the whole Dallas Cowboys offense, and I really like what I see out of them. I definitely want to have a ton of shares of Dak, Zeke, Amari Cooper. I love CeeDee Lamb, but I'd rather have Cooper over Lamb, especially where they're going at, right at that same spot. And if you want to take there's other tight ends to get, but that's a late pick. He's probably not going to get drafted at all. Blake Jarwin or Dalton Schultz, either one of the two. Let's move on to the New York Giants, and we have big question marks here. Big question marks. Will the real Daniel Jones show up? And that's always going to be the question. Gettleman has put a ton of pieces around Daniel Jones not to fail. They're all in on him. And if you're just looking at this roster, you got Saquon Barkley. They got a new acquisition in Kenny Golladay. You already have Sterling Shepard and the breakout of Darius Slayton. And then you got a very explosive tight end in Evan Ingram, who does have some drop problems. But then you solidify behind him Kyle Rudolph, who is a veteran at that tight end spot. And you got a decent line as well. Question is Andrew Thomas going to step up? Because you got Nate Solder. There's a lot of question marks on that line. But offensively and defensively, they are stacked. The question is Daniel Jones. He regressed from 2019 to 2020, obviously switching over to the new Jason Garrett offense. So the first year in the offense obviously is going to be a little bit of a struggle, but it was a lot of regression, and he really didn't spread the ball as much. He did throw deep, but he had tunnel vision. He would stay in the middle and just throw to Evan Ingram and Sterling Shepard. Occasionally would get to Darius Slayton, but it was no real progression, and you saw a stagnant offense from the New York Giants. Obviously, they didn't have Saquon Barkley, but it shouldn't hamper the offense that much. And you could see Daniel Jones struggle throughout the year. But some positives to look out for the New York Giants team is going to be Saquon Barkley coming back from his injury. He should bounce. He's a freak of nature. He should bounce back from that. But in another positive, obviously, they have Kenny Golladay. He's going to be the deep threat. He's going to replace Darius Slayton, getting all those targets. But one of the main benefactors from Daniel Jones was Sterling Shepard. Sterling Shepard had 95 targets, as you see right here on NFL Savant. He had 95 targets, 3 touchdowns, and that target total can clearly go up because he missed 4 games. So that 112 of Evan Ingram, who played all the games, probably would have equaled if Sterling Shepard, wasn't hurt, or go over, possibly. And the completion rate was the highest. He had 73% completion rate to Sterling Shepard because these are, short throws. So Sterling Shepard can work down the field, get the ball in space and move. And that's his safety blanket. So if you're looking at someone on the New York Giants team, obviously we love Barkley, but he's running back 5 right now. So you're only going to be able to get him in that first round. If you want Daniel Jones, then as a punt play or a punt quarterback to have, you're definitely going to need another quarterback ahead of him. just to have a safety blanket, and unless you see, him turning things around and then they get things going. But other than Barkley and Kenny Galladay, I really want Sterling Shepard. Sterling Shepard is going at wide receiver 67. That is absolutely insane for someone who had basically 100 targets and played only 12 games. That's insane. I think that's one of the values so far of the draft. If you're looking for a late wide receiver, you can wait on someone that's going to get 100 plus targets and a very not efficient. I don't want to say efficient offense. Is all predicated on Daniel Jones, but a very dynamic offense because they have players at the running back position, at the tight end position, at the wide receiver position. So Shepard is not going to see double coverage. He's going to be working the middle and he should be open. So wide receiver 67 is going to be a steal. I love him at his price right there. But if we're looking at a whole outlook of the New York Giants, it's going to be all on Daniel Jones' shoulder, and that's going to be key. And we will see if they can make the playoffs, which I think they can because the defense is stout. They can definitely make the playoffs because of the defense. Question is, what kind of Daniel Jones will we get? But if you want to do a late round flyer on him as one of your backup QBs, fine by me. That's a decent backup to have. But there are some question marks. Let's move on to the Washington football team. And we're looking at a team that, pretty much shocked the NFC East. They were first in the division out of nowhere, mostly on the defense, but they really had a Russian roulette of QBs coming through their offense, from Dwayne Haskins, from Kyle Allen, all the way to comeback player of the year, Alex Smith. But with that, the main guy on this team, well, first main guy, 1A, because there's two, but 1A was Terry McLaurin. This man is absolutely QB proof. It does not matter. They could have got someone from ShopRite and put him in as QB. This man still was going to get double-digit targets, get touchdowns. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He's a freak of nature, absolute talent. I love him wherever you're getting him. If you want to have him as your number one wide receiver, go ahead. We probably will be. He's currently going at wide receiver 11, but Terry McLaurin is a stud. But with the acquisition of Ryan Fitzpatrick, we should see some stability with this offense. So we should see, a progression of Curtis Samuel, who they just recently acquired. You should see an even better Terry McLaurin because we know how Ryan Fitzpatrick locks in on his number one wide receivers and tight ends. So you got Logan Thomas, who popped up out of nowhere, was a top 10 tight end. He has the ability to get to that top 5 conversation. But if you're just looking at the targets, when Fitzpatrick was with the Miami Dolphins, you see Devontae Parker, you can put him as the McLaurin role. He had 109 targets, 5 TDs. Obviously, McLaurin is better, so you can project a little bit more, maybe a little more completions, maybe a little more targets because he can get open more. This is a better offense. Obviously, they have a better running back. They have a better everything. Okay, this is a better team than the Miami Dolphins. Fitzpatrick is in a better situation. He just don't turn into the old Fitzpatrick where you're just turning the ball over every single game. Just watch out for that. But the upside is there. So Parker could be McLaurin as you look at these targets. Mike Gesicki would be that Logan Thomas role with 55 completions, 88 targets, 6 TDs. That's what Fitzpatrick does. He tunnels visions on the number one wide receiver and the tight end, and he'll do that all day long. And then Jakeem Grant can clearly be the Curtis Samuel of the offense and provide some explosiveness. Obviously, you want some more touchdowns if you're looking at 36 completions, only 53 targets. But there is upside for Curtis Samuel coming out of that offense for the Carolina Panthers, coming in to the Washington football team. He definitely has a gunslinger that can get him the ball. And then, obviously, Antonio Gibson is a big, big beneficiary, obviously, because he's just going to break out. He did very well in his first season. We're looking for another season in year 2 that's going to take him to the next level. We want 300 plus touches. We want receiving yards. And Fitzpatrick can do all that. As you can see, he fed Myles Gaskins with 41 completions out of 47 targets. So that type of potential is there. Can Fitzpatrick stay consistent? I think he can. He has the weapons around him to solidify a very solid offense to pair with the very good defense that they already have in Washington. And other guys, other than McLaurin, Gibson, Logan Thomas, Curtis Samuel, can be Cam Sims. Cam Sims came on very late in the season and was a very productive wide receiver in this offense. So there's a ton of upside if you want to pick and choose the position players on the Washington football team. Obviously, a question mark if you really want to trust Ryan Fitzpatrick. But if you're in a situation where you don't have many quarterbacks, Fitzpatrick can be a guy for you because they have Gibson, who's currently RB 13. They have McLaurin, who's currently wide receiver 11. They got Logan Thomas, who's currently tight end 9, and then Curtis Samuel, who's currently wide receiver 42. So, just real quick, wide receiver 42, Curtis Samuel, you can get Sterling Shepard as wide receiver 6. There's a big discrepancy there where it really doesn't make any sense. Sterling Shepard should be higher. I just wanted to note that because I think that's kind of crazy. But wide receiver 42, Curtis Samuel, all these guys have some upside. And with this solid defense, you should hopefully see some game scripts where they can, ice the ball, finish the game with Antonio Gibson, very, very strong. Obviously, get a lead with McLaurin, get a lead with Logan Thomas, because Fitzpatrick can definitely feed them all day long, and then finish the game with Antonio Gibson. So some breakout players I love on a Washington team is all across the board. I've been speaking about them for the past 2 minutes, but McLaurin, Lock City, Antonio Gibson, another boost this year. And that's what you want to lock in on running backs. You want to get the young running backs between that 22 to 26 range. That's when they're at their precipice because obviously it's a short career for the running back. Once you get to that 27, 28, there's question marks, there's injuries that pop up. So you want to look for young running backs that have huge upside and are pretty much the alpha in that offense. All right. And let's move over to the Philadelphia Eagles, last but not least. And we have a situation where there's a lot of upside in Jalen Hurts. Can he take it to that next level? He started out very fast in the first couple games, obviously taking over. But in the final 2, he struggled. Had one game with 2 interceptions. Did defenses figure out the way he's playing? Was it too obvious? But he's not really keying on major, one particular guy. He spreads the ball to everyone. So it was really difficult to pick one particular player on the Philadelphia Eagles side. If I'm looking at Devonta Smith, Jalen Reagor, Travis Fulgham, Dallas Goedert, Zach Ertz, they have a ton of options. All right. They have a ton of options, but can Jalen Hurts establish, a main connection? So that's why my favorite, pass catcher on this offense is going to be the rookie Devonta Smith. He has the athletic ability, he has the speed, he has the hands, he has everything. Okay, he is a total beast coming out of Alabama. Can Hurts connect and find his number one? I really want to see if he can develop at least a secure connection with one of these receivers so we can take full advantage of it. All right. Obviously, he has a ton of upside with the rushing ability that he does have, and he does have the arm. The question is, can he find a number one wide receiver? I'm hoping Devonta Smith is that guy. I'd rather take a flyer on him besides Jalen Reagor or Travis Fulgham because the upside is there. They put a ton of capital in that draft pick getting Devonta Smith. And other than that, you have Miles Sanders, who's, up and down every single year. He's definitely probably going to get you 15 touches a game. You're hoping for some more catching from him, but obviously you do have the factor in Jalen Hurts and him taking away from carries, taking away red zone carries, because when you get in that red zone, Jalen Hurts is not shy of taking that ball himself and putting it in the end zone. So the question mark with Miles Sanders is going to be Jalen Hurts, is going to be Boston Scott taking catches away from him, and the Philadelphia Eagles drafted Kenneth Gainwell. So it's a very murky running back core. You want to trust Miles Sanders, who's going around that RB 15 range. I like guys under him, but um, it's a wait and see. Maybe we see something in preseason or some talk comes out where they're going to really focus in and lean on Miles Sanders. But as of right now, when I'm looking at the Philadelphia Eagles, a breakout would be Jalen Hurts, who's currently the QB 10 because he does have that rushing upside. And then other than him is going to be Devonta Smith, who's currently wide receiver 37. They do have a struggling defense, very up and down defense. They do have Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox to get to the quarterback. The corners are going to be the question. They do have Darius Slay, but everyone around him is going to be a question mark. So you can see some high scoring games from the Philadelphia Eagles. That's why I like Jalen Hurts. I'm hoping that Devonta Smith turns into that number one. But there are question marks. I want to focus in on them too. But I'm not going to touch that tight end position between Dallas Goedert and Zach Ertz. It's a very seesaw. A lot of these games are 4 targets, 3 targets, 5. Not game breaking tight end performances that I want from my tight end position. I'm not doing that wait for a tight end anymore. Now I'm give me a top 10 guy, preferably top 5 guy, and I don't have to worry about the position. This waiting and hoping for 10 points from that position is I'm done with those days. I'm done with those days. That's very annoying. But that is the breakdown for the NFC East. I hope you guys enjoyed some of the information. You get a few nuggets from some of the top plays on each and every team. Just the overview, the Cowboys look like a high-octane offense. The Giants definitely have the pieces. The question mark is going to be Daniel Jones. Washington has the pieces as well. It should be all systems go. That should be a very nice team. They have the defense. Fitzpatrick, can he keep up the consistency? Because you do not want to see the old Fitzpatrick where he's throwing a ton of interceptions. And then the Eagles, it's all on Jalen Hurts. Miles Sanders, I do not like where he's going right now. I think he can be bumped down just a little bit. I do love Devonta Smith as a wide receiver prospect. But that's how I feel about the NFC East division currently. Let me know in the comment section down below what are your thoughts on each and every team about the Cowboys, the Giants, Washington, and the Eagles. Are you a fan of one of these teams? Let me know down below. We can get a conversation going. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at metsnetsjets. And I'll be back tomorrow with another video. We're going to do the NBA Finals Game 5. We've been red hot in the NBA, so we're going to keep things going along. Don't forget, if you want to donate from any of my selections and you feel like you want to give back, my Cash App will be down below. It is metsnetsjets at Cash App. But thank you guys for tuning in. Peace out.